Hello, and welcome to Black Girl Joy. I'm your host, Nicole Celine, and today's guest is Miss Dolores Gilmore, author of These 10 Men, Her, The Life and Times of Rowan and Grace, and soon to be released, The Wrong Good Woman, the story of one woman who discovered the courage to face the enemy within. Not only is she an author, she is also gifted in spoken word. So I hope she will bless us with some of her poetry. So sit back, relax, and embrace the journey. Hello, Dolores.
Hello, sister.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am good. Excited about just having this conversation with you. Just very excited. So, welcome to Black Girl Joy. And usually the beginning is, can you give everyone, who is, okay, you said not to say it, but I'm going to say it. Dr. Dolores Gilmore. Who are you, my love?
Well, I'm a sister. I am a proud sister of lots of sisters.
Amen.
and also I'm a friend. I'm an auntie. I am a proud auntie.
Yes.
Yes, I am. And I think my greatest identity is I am a daughter of God.
Amen. Yeah.
And after that comes everything else.
Yes. Amen to that. I agree. It is always nice to be a daughter of the Lord. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So, this segment that I'm doing is on authors, and you are a proud author of The Wrong Good Woman. So, I'd like for you to tell me about what that means exactly. What inspired you to write it? What was the leading that got you to writing this?
Well, I'm writing that book currently, so
Mm.
I'm almost done with it. So it is I'm almost in that editing process. So so I'm almost there. What got me writing this book is the concept of the good woman. We would, oftentimes we would hear that a lot in our society, or depending on where you grew up. And I didn't particularly grow up in this country. I was born in this country, but I didn't grow up here.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
so what happens is that term and that phrase was a little weird to me. It always would get my attention when I would hear someone say, you know, all that guy needs is a good woman, or all this needs is a good woman. And oftentimes the good woman was always about what a man needed. And for me, I thought, okay, well, that's very interesting. And then what began to happen is as I continue to grow and continue to live and have experiences, I began to ask more questions. And
Right.
one of those questions was I began to ask the brothers, my father figures and what that meant to them. And what that meant to them is very different than how you would hear it um, talked about by a lot of women that I knew.
Mm-hmm.
And then I began to have more questions, and I began to go to Father, and I began to ask some of the biblical authorities around me about
Mm.
about this concept. And my question was, how I started off this book. My question was, how is it that in companies we talk about the right fit,
Mm-hmm. Right.
but we don't talk about the right woman?
Mm. Interesting.
I was just like, so is any good woman okay for it? Just, all she has to be is a good woman. It doesn't matter if she's the right woman. as long as she's a good woman. And I began to really pray on that, and I couldn't let it go. So I began to ask the Lord once again, what what is what part of this is about a definition, and what part of this is about healing.
Mm.
And
Okay.
and he was
Okay.
like, all of it's about healing. And he was like, what I need you to understand, I need you to travel with me. And I need you to understand, every time I make something, I make it specifically. I don't make a random anything. It can be good, but it doesn't mean it's right for you.
Right.
You could be good, but that doesn't mean you're right for that person or you're right for that situation. He says, what I want my daughters to understand is to stop being everybody's good woman and be the right woman. And in order to do that, you have to stop and just journey. And sometimes that journey means healing some misconceptions,
Mm-hmm.
healing some things that we thought he said, but he really never said. Healing some things that we believe that were just not true. And so that's how I started with that.
So basically, it's like stopping in the midst of your journey and healing and bringing understanding also to those different parts of your life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm, mm, okay. But you, yeah. I mean, I can really, I can really go into that one because I know that along the way, from being a child to a young child to being a young teenager, looking at yourself, examining yourself, wanting to know who you are, and then getting to the place of being a grown adult and having to look back on all those things that hurt you
Right.
and brought you discomfort or pain, and knowing how to navigate and address those processes of healing.
Right.
That can be, that can take a while, and a lot of us want that microwavable change
Oh,
you
yeah.
know
Oh, yeah. And it's there is none. When you're talking about what we're talking about right now, there is no microwavable um, healing
mhm
in regards to that, because then I had to really examine parts of me that were shut down and just closed off. And one of the things that I had to examine and really allow Father to do is journey with Him, so I can see and examine. That's where I picked that up.
mm,
That's where I
right.
thought that. That's the first place I thought that. That's the first place I believe that. That's where I picked that belief up. That's what happened there. And then being willing to do something about it.
Right, because the first thing is acknowledging the hurt or the pain, and then the next should be beginning the journey of healing.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And it was long, and sis, I didn't care. I didn't care how long it was going to take. I just wanted to be whole. I didn't care. I just did not.
The word whole sometimes is interesting to me, because I think that even in that, a lot of times we don't understand what it means to be whole.
Right.
And that in and of itself is a whole, as there's the word, um interview by itself, because to be whole means not, it doesn't mean that you're not going to have any hurts, pains, or, but it's going to affect you differently. You're going to deal with it differently from a place of healing and wholeness in that particular place.
Absolutely. And I couldn't have said it better, sis. And the thing that I believe that often we get stuck in is when Father says whole, nothing missing, nothing broken, nothing lacking. He doesn't mean perfect as in there's nothing, there's no place ever that you're going to ever have to grow again, as you just so accurately stated. And there is going to be a next place that you're going to experience hurt. Either you're going to be the one that's hurting someone, or someone is going to be hurting you. And how are we going to matriculate through that?
Right.
Is it going to, am I going to be now shut down forever? I'm not going to love anybody forevermore. You know, I'm bitter forevermore. What is going to be a result of that? And I think the biggest lesson for me was the tools that he gave me and that I learned from so many others
Mm-hmm.
and still learning. I want to put that out there as well. Those tools have been amazing because those tools work. But I think the first thing was just really being honest about, this hurts, that happened, but I'm not willing to live there.
Right.
I'm just not going to live there. And there's a whole life ahead of me. There are people that I won't be able to love if this doesn't heal.
Right.
There's people I won't be able to see properly. Matter of fact, I won't be able to see myself properly if I don't heal. So yeah.
Right. And healing also brings boundaries.
Oh yeah.
And that is one of my favorite books. I wrote that today about that because it's a book that I continuously go back to and I mention to everyone and anyone
Oh
who
yeah.
has an ear.
Oh yeah.
Boundaries are important.
Oh yeah.
Boundaries are necessary in your life, not only in relationships, but in everything, with your children, with your
Oh
husband, with
yeah.
your friends,
Oh
in
yeah.
your own life, within yourself. Boundaries are important.
I I tell you, um, you just spoke a whole heap of things right there in regards to boundaries. I love that book, but by Dr. Henry Cloud and Dr.
Hmm.
John Townsend.
Yes.
And as I was sharing with you before, I was in a program with Dr. John Townsend out there in California, just
Hmm.
learning some things. But the thing that I found so interesting is a lot of us want relief. We really, a lot of us don't really want to heal.
Right.
And so when you talk about boundaries, as hard as you go in, as hard as our sisters go in, as hard as we go in when someone, you know, shares like they want to break free of this or break free of that. The thing is, break free looks very different on someone who wants relief versus someone who really wants to heal and wants to be better.
Yeah. So the good woman is really based on a woman that's actually healing,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
willing to change and bring change not only to herself, but then also to her household.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And being and saying no to a lot of nonsense that doesn't make any sense. And when I say that, I'm talking about the plan and the purpose and the destiny that Father has for each of us,
Right.
individually and then collectively. But if I'm in everything, if I'm running and hopping and skipping, no matter what problems come up, I'm not attentive to really what's assigned to me.
Right.
And so when you say boundaries, I'm like, oh yeah, let's get that right there.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I think that that's another I think I'm going to start reading excerpts of that book on my on Black Girl Joy, because it is something that it's just necessary for us to hear
Yeah.
um and understand.
So, but you also now you wrote a fictional book. What was the name of your fictional book?
Right. So I wrote three fictional books.
Right.
The first one is These 10 Men. The
And
second one was Her. And the last one was The Life and Times of Roman and Grace.
okay. So what was her about?
So hers about my own, based on my own journey and a journey of a woman, a coach mentor that I had,
Mm,
who really, who's in sports and was one of the first women to be there, and especially in the role she was in, but also she was having this journey with the Lord in regards to healing old wounds that she never was honest about.
mm,
Yeah. And so and also the time that her husband and her family just was like, please go away. And if the Lord is telling you to take 40 days or whatever it is, we'll be here when you get back.
right.
You know, whatever you need to do. You've been here for us, and but we want you to heal. You know, and a lot of us, what we do is we do more stuff, and we're not healing at all. And so she shared that journey with me, which what it did is it encouraged me all the more to dig deeper in my own journey,
Mm-hmm.
because what I was great at doing is hiding behind work.
Right. And
Oh
we
yeah.
all can do that very
Oh
well.
yeah, yeah.
And it's funny that you said about her family wanting her to, that she's there for them. And a
Yeah.
lot of times it's funny, but and not in a ha-ha way, but we can be there for everyone else. But
Oh
when
my
it comes
God.
time to be there for ourselves,
Right.
and I find myself in that place at times, it's like, how do I do this? Because
Right.
I've spent so much time being there for everyone else
Yeah.
that now I don't know, like, what do I do for me? Like,
Right.
how do I begin doing for me? You
Right.
know, and it's not a selfish thing, but it's
No.
being a self, how do you, it's not even, it's like selfless, and also being introspective,
Oh
not
yeah.
criticizing myself,
Right.
but just
Right.
introspective of
Oh yeah.
me.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
what do I really need? And what
Yeah.
do I really want?
Yeah. And that word need is a big deal, and it's a huge, huge deal. And oftentimes we don't even want to use the word need at all. But there's certain things that I need from supplements, that, and I need another degree from essential vitamins and minerals.
Mm,
You know, so when I think about need, I think about the essentials. I think breath, I think oxygen, I think water, I think actual nutrients that really make a huge difference. I think sleep, I think recreation, I think meditation. I
mm-hmm.
think Bible study, not how I feel about devotion without Bible study. You know how I feel about that. But I
Yes.
digress. I digress. But I think about uh, growing on purpose, having sister time, and having time where I love to go, and I love to learn in environments that don't necessarily do what I do, but enhance what I do, because what it does is sensitizes me to whether I've stopped listening because I'm around something that's like me all the time.
Mm,
So I love to, about 3 times a year, I love to go to a conference or a summit that doesn't do what I do. So I can really hone in on how well am I really listening,
right. Because
you know?
listening truly is an art.
Yeah.
So, do you plan on, is writing something that you plan on continuing to do? Is it something that you see yourself growing old gracefully with, you know, cuz a lot of times, we pick up certain things and we grow into it, and I
Right.
feel that you are growing into the area of writing, not only just fictionally, but also being an author of an actual, your own life, your personal biography.
Right. Sis, you know how to nail me. I mean, because you're my sister, so you know how to do it. Um, she's nailing me, y'all. But absolutely, I do. I didn't before. For years, I just thought writing was just the way I talked because I didn't really talk a lot.
Mm,
And so I used it to come out of my shell, and so that's what I used it for years. And then someone very close to me said to me, "These are books that are supposed to help others. Thank you so much."
right. Exactly. I
And I
agree.
I was just like, "Mine, yours. Who asked you?" Okay, but a strong name.
How
I
about
need
you
you
stay in your lane? Stay
to
in
have
your
a
lane.
holy mind your business. But but she was right. She was right, and I was convicted about it. And I of course I went to her and let her know you were right and I was wrong,
Mm.
and I make that adjustment immediately. And I do, I have to have an urge by Father to even talk about anything in that kind of way because it has to work on me for a while. I have to come through it. It has to do something inside of me. I'm not the kind of writer at this point. I don't know how it's going to continue to morph and grow,
Mm-hmm.
but at this point, I don't kind of get things that don't help folks in a way that it resonates with me.
So it's like a personal journal.
Yeah, yeah, it
Mm.
is. And one of my dreams is I always wanted brothers, and so for me, and siblings, period. And so for me, I was just like, I wanted to. I remember telling the Lord, if you ever have me to write, I want to make sure I write in such a way that my brothers would not feel condemned. I want to, I want them to be able to read it and go, you know what? I see something in here that could possibly help me. And that was very important to me. I didn't want to, because a lot of the topics that I cover are the topics that speak to both. Of course, I'm a woman, so I have a woman's perspective. But because I grew up, I was raised by men, I have an affinity to how they what disrespects them and what doesn't. So
So
I'm sensitive to that. You know what I mean?
yeah, of course
And
we should
yeah.
be sensitive to that because they too have a voice.
Yeah, I don't ever want to write in such a way that it's, just beating them down to the ground and this kind of thing. Because a lot of things that are happening is that we're participating oftentimes in nonsense. And if we know it's nonsense, then, at some point we got to go, okay, why am I participating in nonsense?
Yeah, I don't believe in men bashing. I
Right,
believe that if a man is wrong, then we
right,
need to call him out on
right.
his wrong. Just like
Exactly.
I don't, discriminate. And most people who know me know I'm
Oh,
like,
we know. We
I
know.
take both sides, men and women, and I'll tell them both.
Yeah,
If
you
you're
do.
wrong, if you're wrong, you're wrong.
Right.
So I totally understand that. So was that these 10 you there was one with called These 10 Men. Was that
Right.
about men or was that
It definitely was that one and the third one.
mhm.
Um, and what it was the journey of one man and 10 different snapshots of his life.
Mm.
And so what it was is that it demonstrated what he was and what his behavior was like, which really gives us an insight to what his thought life was like.
Mm.
So what his behavioral lifestyle was like in those 10 snapshots that we catch him. And so it's one of those things where we're just bystanders observing. And every time we take a snapshot of him, we observe a different behavioral lifestyle. And from that behavioral lifestyle, we draw a template, almost like an investigative reporter or investigator who is in the FBI who's investigating a crime. We trace back what is happening in the set of his mind.
That's interesting. Yeah, we're gonna have to do another interview on that one. So, yeah, I'm gonna leave that one right there.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm gonna say, so in the last few minutes of this interview, where can the people find these fictional books and the new book to come?
Well, the last one, I'm almost done, y'all. I'm not done yet, but I'm almost done. It will be on Amazon.
Oh,
All,
amen.
yes, and all three of them are on Amazon.
Okay, so can you say the three of them again?
Yes. So the first one is These 10 Men. The second one is Her. And the last one is The Life and Times of Rowan and Grace.
Awesome. And so in the intro, I said, and I know we had this conversation about you and the spoken word, because that is how not only did we meet in church, but we met, in dance. And
Right.
also, I was blessed to be able to hear you. So I'd like for you to end this beautiful and wonderful interview.
The one of many, let's just put it that way, ladies and gents.
Father.
In the spoken word for us, because I love it when you do.
God. Oh gosh. Let me raise this up right here so I can actually see it. Okay, so let me see what I'm gonna do for my sister since I'm not gonna get out of that. Oh.
No, you're not at all.
I'm not going, no matter what I do, no matter what I do.
No.
Let me see what we have here. Oh my gosh. Okay, hold on. I'm not certain that I have it up. Okay, hold on. Just give me 1 second.
It's all good.
Okay.
Take your time,
Oh,
because I am looking forward to it. And I know that everyone listening is
okay.
also.
So I got it.
All right.
All right. This one is called Shards of Broken Glass. Sounds of shoes walking over the broken shards of glass. No one heard his heart break over the broken shards of glass. No one heard the internal and relentless dialogue which plagued him like a festering pestilence over a war-torn territory in the midst of a place called Nowhere by some. But was home for him. No one heard his tears. No one heard his heartbreak over the broken shards of glass. He tried to keep it a secret and to move forward according to the keep it moving mantra, which had raised him to be a man of few words. He had a bitter and mean disposition. Often the pressure of his poor decisions bore down on him and caused him to buckle, because no one heard his heartbreak over the broken shards of glass. And as his grind increased and his bank account grew, he attempted to silence the self-doubt through the constant companions of the addicted. Perversion in every form surfaced to take ownership of his perspective and turn his unstable understanding of his own identity into a pervasive pity party, which left his offspring with no legacy, no inheritance, and the gift of a shattered self-concept. Because no one heard him and heard his cries over the broken shards of glass. He believed that no one heard his heartbreak, but someone heard and they responded quickly, only to be met with a smile through gleaming teeth and soothing words that said, "Hey, there's no emergency." When alone, he yelled again, and with soundless voice, the alert went out again. Again, someone came quickly to help, but it was not the person he had expected, and it was not the one he blamed. It was not the one who had truly been the cause of his pain. So again, the helper was met with a smile through gleaming teeth and soothing words that reassured them that there is no emergency here, and was told that their help was unwanted and unneeded. He believed that no one heard his heartbreak over the broken shards of glass, but someone heard.
Mm. Thank you, Dee. Thank you so much. Thank you for blessing us on Black Girl Joy. I pray that this blesses everyone as they heard it. I love you and have a beautiful day, my sister.
I love you too. Thank you so much,
You're
sis.
welcome. Thank you again for taking the time to listen to Black Girl Joy. Please remember to like and share our podcast and join our Facebook page on Black Girl Joy LLC. Remember to embrace the journey. Bye.